Hi, this is Leanne from Global Media Networks with business news for today. The country's external trade saw mixed performance in March, with exports suffering the biggest fall of 10% and imports losing steam, while difference has further inflated the deficit in the first quarter of last year. Imports in March grew by mere 4% to $1.69 billion, and the central bank was quick to attribute it to policy measures taken in January and February. Whilst the loss of steam may be welcome in terms of stemming and erosion of reserves, and the 10.2% dip in exports to $836 million is likely to raise fresh concerns. With Industry and Commerce Minister Rishad Badruddin yesterday pitched for a comprehensive economic partnership agreement with Singapore, whilst the latter's Foreign Minister K. Shanmugam declared Sri Lanka, with peace in place, was poised to achieve its full potential. These expressions of optimism were the key highlights during the duo's remarks at the signing of the MOU between two chambers of both countries. A 21-member Singapore business delegation is also currently in the country. The external trade of the country may look challenging, but the foreign inflows appear robust as per latest data disclosed by the central bank on yesterday. Now, workers' remittances in March amounted to $550 million, up 9.2% year-on-year, whilst the first quarter it grew by 17.2% to $1.5 billion. Earnings from tourism in March 2012 grew at a healthy rate of 28.8% to $94 million, and by 28.6% to $268 million in the first quarter. Then we have central bank expects the rupee to stabilize in current levels of around 132 to the dollar without intervention, a senior official stated on Wednesday, abandoning its earlier stance where it expected the currency to settle at a higher level. The rupee was trading around 132 per dollar on Wednesday. Both the central bank and the treasury had said only recently that they expected the currency to stabilize below $125 a dollar. It has come to notice of the central bank that advertisements are being made in the print and electronic media and internet, and unsolicited emails are being circulated with some companies' priorities, concerns, and individuals, exhorting the public to engage in foreign exchange trading with assurances of guaranteed high returns. We have Sanasa Development Bank Limited will debut today on the main board, enhancing the already well-represented banks, finance and insurance sector of the Colombo Stock Exchange. The SDBL will be the 34th main board-listed firm in the sector and the 58th overall inclusive of the Delivery board firms with the financial services sector in the broader market. In the broader market, SDBL will be the 281st listed company. Then we have the Sri Lanka's weekly treasury bill auction saw the 3-month and 6-month rates declining while the 1-year rate moved up. Accordingly, the 3-month declined to 11.01% from last week's 11.58%, while the 6-month rate also moved down to 12.29% from last week's 12.52%. The auction was oversubscribed, with bids received running up to 78 billion rupees. The central bank who conducts the auction had only accepted 31.62 billion rupees to resettle 30 billion rupee worth of maturing treasury bills. Out of that, the bank accepted 8 billion rupees from the 3-month tenor, 18 billion rupees for the 6 months tenor, and 5 billion rupees for the 1-year tenor. We have Sri Lanka's Love's Gas plc and its subsidiaries have achieved a profit before tax of 1.14 billion rupees during 2011-2012 financial year ended the 31st of March. The diversified group issuing its unaudited interim financial results for the year 2000 for the year says that there is a 10% growth over the previous year. Now, Scales plc and subsidiaries also have seen the revenues reaching 9.17 billion, a 30% increase over its corresponding period. Its net asset value has grown by 5.7% during the reference year to stand at 6.4 million rupees. The net generation of cash from operating activities stands at 960.8 billion rupees, whereas it has remained at 868.8 million rupees during the previous year. Company says the performance was achieved under difficult circumstances of escalating global LP gas prices and currency depreciation. The Love's Eco 3 Private Limited, a subsidiary of the group, also seen its revenues increasing by 37.9% during the year under review. Moving on to some world news, we have oil prices dropped below $90 a barrel, hitting a 7-month low amid concerns that Europe's problems could drag down the global economy and cut down demand for energy. Since hitting a 52-week high in late February, prices have fallen 20%, the traditional definition of a bear market. Oil hasn't fallen that fast since it plummeted 24% from July to October of last year amid concerns about European and US debt problems. And investors rushed to safety in Asia as concerns grew over the health of the Spanish banking system, pushing Hong Kong's index down and erasing all of its 2012 gains, while the yen jumped to its highest since February. Stocks around the region sank, tracking sharp falls in Europe and the US, as yields on Spain's 10-year bonds reached as high as 6.65%, close to the levels that drove Greece, Portugal, Ireland to bail out. On Wednesday, the Dow Jones Industrial Average tumbled 106.83 points to 1.3%, or 1.3%, while the Treasury yields plunged to their lowest levels on record amid a familiar mix of fears from the European debt crisis. Now with that, I round up the news for today. Thank you very much for listening and see you again tomorrow.